to his dear friend Lucilius, Stoic philosopher Seneca wrote, "There are more things, Lucilius, likely to frighten us than there are to crush us. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." End quote. Chronic worriers tend to be more occupied by the future than by present circumstances. During the day, and even during the night, their thoughts wander in the mysterious realm of what's yet to come, plotting, planning, and calculating on how to tackle an unfortunate fate that might rear its ugly head. But even though they wish to control the future, they've never gone beyond the confines of the present. This is because the future doesn't exist, except in our minds. We can't live in the future and we can't predict it. Sure, we can plan for things that might come, but the present usually unfolds in different and often surprising ways. Still, many of us fix our attention on the unknown and fantasize endlessly about how things that we can't possibly predict present themselves to us. Seneca observed this phenomenon in his friend Lucilius, as well as in the people around him. He counterattacked this often tiresome and destructive stance towards the illusory domain of the future with Stoic reasoning, explaining why worrying about it is pointless and advising us on what to do instead. This video explores Seneca's antidotes to worry and groundless fears. The idea that the future doesn't exist doesn't deny the passing of time. It doesn't deny that what's happening right now will soon be the past, and that we're constantly exposed to a stream of novelty, like a mountaintop faces an enduring blizzard. The blizzard cannot be controlled, comes from all directions and at different speeds, and brings along snowflakes in all shapes and sizes. The mountain is unable to predict what's coming. It can only endure and watch the snowflakes come and go, as we watch moments come and go, from what we call the future to the past. Thus, we know that something is coming, but no matter what we try to make of it and how well we try to prepare for it, we'll always be shooting in the dark. That's why the future, as we imagine it, has no ground to stand on at the end of the day, as the future is nothing more than ideas, which vary from wild guesses to prognoses based on past results. Nevertheless, many people are over-encumbered by these ideas, causing them to suffer from groundless fears based on nothing but speculation instead of truth. As Seneca stated, "For truth has its own definite boundaries, but that which arises from uncertainty is delivered over to guesswork and the irresponsible license of a frightened mind." He observed that some things affect us before they appear, and other things affect us when they, in reality, never will. According to Seneca, this is the case because we're habitually exaggerating or imagining or anticipating sorrow. Seneca's letter goes on to describe the nature of the mind, telling Lucilius that it sometimes creates false shapes of evil when there's no evil to be found. Or, as he states, it twists into the worst construction, some word of doubtful meaning, or it fancies some personal grudge to be more serious than it really is, considering not how angry the enemy is, but to what lengths he may go if he is angry. End quote. This human habit of worrying isn't just unpleasant. There's plenty of scientific evidence that suggests that worrying can make people sick. Literally. This means that even though the future doesn't exist, we're worrying ourselves sick because of it. Luckily, Seneca's writings provide us with antidotes. Now, what antidotes did Seneca propose to fight this human habit of worrying? His remedy comes down to fortifying the mind with certain ideas and truth about reality, as well as changing the stance we take towards fortune and misfortune. First of all, he reminds his friend Lucilius of the fact that although many unfortunate things have overcome him, he always stood his ground. So it seems that somehow he was always able to cope. When we look at the history of our own lives, we may conclude that what we perceive as a catastrophe in advance usually turns out to be different than we had imagined. Oftentimes, we suffer less than we anticipate. The irony is that the majority of the suffering happens before the actual event takes place. For example, we're anxious about taking an exam, and the weeks before, we worry about it every day. Will I black out? Will I screw it up? But the anxiety we experience during the exam is negligible compared to what we endured the weeks before. The root of this fear lies in our beliefs regarding the consequences of failing the exam. We might think, if I fail, my life is over. Or, if I don't pass this exam, then it's true what they say. I'm indeed a failure. But these beliefs aren't true, simply because the consequences they anticipate haven't happened yet and cannot be predicted. Even though some catastrophic beliefs about the future may be plausible, as long as they are not coming to fruition at this very moment, what's to be disturbed about? Or, as Seneca stated, you may retort with the question, how am I to know whether my sufferings are real or imaginary? Here's the rule for such matters. We are tormented, either by things present or by things to come, or by both. As to things present, the decision is easy. Suppose that your person enjoys freedom and health, and that you do not suffer from any external injury. As to what may happen to it in the future, we shall see later on. Today, there's nothing wrong with it. End quote. In the same letter, Seneca encourages his friend Lucilius to be careful about outside influences when it comes to his personal situation. According to Seneca, it's better to trust in ourselves and take counsel with our feelings independently, as we know our affairs better than anyone else does. We're easily affected by the opinions and views of other people. There are many individuals out there with narrow-minded and even delusional views of reality, claiming that they can predict the future and gladly plant their seeds of fear in our minds, making us uneasy about the situation we're in. Seneca urges his friend to consult reason to see if he doesn't convert quote-unquote what is not an evil into what is an evil. So the antidote is that we carefully discern between imagination and reality. As soon as we find out that our fears are based on irrational thinking or fantasies or exaggerations, our worries are debunked. Another antidote that Seneca proposes is a change of attitude towards the things to come. Seneca displays a certain open-mindedness in his letter to Lucilius, urging him not to conclude too hastily regarding the nature of what fortune provides. Fortune, in this case, refers to the ancient deity Fortuna, the goddess of chance, luck, and fate. Looking at our human ignorance, not only about what will happen and how these events will play out, but also concerning the nature of these events and how they exactly affect our lives, it's better to be careful when judging fate. In some cases, the misfortune we anticipate indeed comes to fruition. However, events sometimes take such a radical and unexpected turn that, against all odds, we're getting off the hook. We can see this happening in a Buddhist story about a man who is followed by a tiger, jumps into an old well, and encounters a snake at the bottom. He holds on tightly to a root poking out of the wall, which is getting eaten away by mice. His fate seemed to be sealed, but then, out of the blue, fortune grants him a way out. Therefore, hardship can fall upon us at any given time, but so can a stroke of luck in horrible circumstances. Even bad fortune is fickle, Seneca stated. So his antidote is to stay open-minded about the future, knowing that we can't judge the nature of an event before it has happened, and its consequences lay bare. I quote, "Let us then look carefully into the matter. It is likely that some troubles will befall us, but it is not a present fact. How often has the unexpected happened? How often has the expected never come to pass? And even though it is ordained to be, what does it avail to run out to meet your suffering? You will suffer soon enough when it arrives. So look forward meanwhile to better things." End quote. This doesn't mean that we should deny that bad things might happen. Seneca doesn't encourage his friend to be ignorant of the terrible fates that could occur. He does advocate for observing with care. On the one hand, it's unwise to be in denial of misfortune. On the other hand, we shouldn't let the smallest sign of adversity throw us into a panic. So the key is walking the middle path between ignorance and obsession, on which we mindfully assess the situation at hand while keeping all options open. Moreover, if we keep an open mind about the nature of events, knowing that not everything is what it seems and that fate is capricious like a winter storm, we'll realize that our judgments about future and even present events are often misguided, and our fears concerning them groundless. And even if it's certain that misfortune is coming our way, if it's not yet arrived, then why spend the time beforehand suffering in our imagination? Thank you for watching.
Recon. Put you in the sickle for the harvest is right. We ain't down for wickedness, false prophets a lie. Woman to the wicked grass of blind the sight. Unquenchable flame stars fall in the night. Shemayim snapped the scroll, mountains fled in the anger. Hills of flock of rams skipping special forces, recon angels. Really by no labels, we bout labor for the source. Wells up in infinite, waters coming forth. Spiritual revival, dehydration shall I pour. Kept the run down to the mouth, cool floor. Kingdom heaven in me is part of the morbid head. Treasure like deep in you, key to the never end. We all a ray, a fragment piece of the sea sledge. Point of a center, he segment filled in with ether. Hit me on the end, you're passing the present teacher. Pre-sealed and covenant in Nehemiah, not Easter. We all a ray, a fragment piece of the sea sledge. Point of a center, he segment filled in with ether. Hit me on the end, you're passing the present teacher. Pre-sealed and covenant in Nehemiah, not Easter. Not a game, stolen the soul arrangement. Adversary in the details, mirrors and smoking angels. Incriminating emails, fake news, read the paper. Pimping who been printing, it's all designed to take ya. Division in your cells, almighty sustain. Ain't got how relying on nothing else. In trouble, it's all vapor, elder wind in the sails. The water, the whole rainbow, reclamation, just a vessel. A wrestle, Jonah, you came for. Stay mind, grow it holy. Lord, if they only knew how they controlling you, thought still a slave. Look how they holding you, enemy scoping you, word on my way. Stay mind, dwell with holy who, Lord, if they only knew how they controlling you, thought still a slave. Look how they holding you, enemy scoping you, word on my way. Force tremendous, Bill Adam breath, living dust, mushy for the enemy, burnt down like a Dutch. Once upon a distant, dirty sackcloth in the ashes. Truth don't grow with mischief, prayer get raised about the ashes. Save me from the mire, I would fell of not your pasture. Had you not an anchor, if you save me, I'll be thrown. Thorn to the thief, leech, mind to the corn. Stone in the sling, sing signs in the storm. Rock foundation, time echo with the north. Recon over gang, wings fly with the force. All purpose type material to camouflage the course. Tiger stripe, orange, red drip from the source. We all array, your fragment piece of the sea sledge. Point of a center, he segment filled in with ether. He'll be on it then, you're passing the present teacher. Pre-sealed and covenant, Nehemiah, not Easter. Stay mind, dwell with holy who, Lord, if they only knew how they controlling you, thought still a slave. Look how they holding you, enemy scoping you, word on my word. Stay mind, dwell with holy who, Lord, if they only knew how they controlling you, thought still a slave. Look how they holding you, enemy scoping you, word on my word.
The government is a figment of your imagination. It's an artificial, intelligent overlay. It is only a concept. It's a play. It's a performance. It's an act. They love when I have to fucking go off. I can look at something from a few different sides, and I can see where it all connects despite what they're telling me. Right? They just look at what they're told. I look at what makes sense. You know, they'll say I'm doing word salad. They'll say that I'm just going off on my own tangent, but that is because my mind works in a different way than the majority of the slaves. You guys are all in your feelers and never see the logic behind life, how it all moves together and fits together and how it works. So when you learn to check your feelers and move them out of the way and just observe with clarity and presence and awareness, you will make the right determinations and the right decisions. It's all the same shit over and over again. And no matter how much I speak on self-empowerment, self-mastery, self-reflection, you all have a belief and a feeling that's going to trump that. Ancient wisdom that works for everybody who embodies the path. You're not your own God. I know you want to be, but you're not. As soon as you get in line with what that thing wants from you or what is, you'll stop having these fucking problems. So I view all the rest of this shit as a distraction. Governance is an act and a play, and it requires your belief and participation. The culture, the society, the legal system, the legal society, policy, statute, and code is the original artificial intelligence and state of consciousness that has been overlaid on the NI. And that's why you have domesticated slaves and you have uncivilized men like myself. You don't want to accept that there's an objective morality that exists in this realm that every man and woman can comprehend using objective logic. It's not about wanting the fame and the riches. It's about being good at what you do, being recognized for it, and then when you get to the dance, telling all the people to suck your dick in public and leave because you never wanted to bond with them anyway. That's the whole point of being true to yourself, is so that wherever you get to that you're meant to go, you don't have to change that. Quite the opposite. That's what got you there. I got a direct link to that spirit and to the people who chink it in. You can't get in between that. That's beyond worldly power. That's where you go beyond the ceiling that they don't want you to go beyond. That's the stage of inspiration and empowerment. They can't control you no more. They can't influence you no more. They can't put fear on you and things around you to stop you from being who and what you're meant to be. That's the game for me. That's the game for all of us, I thought. Actualized and realized. Written on our heart, first and foremost, through common sense, that if not overlaid with some dogma and indoctrination, we could all communicate harmoniously. Right? So I'm never going to accept, unless my perspective completely changes, that there isn't an objective morality here that can be hit as a standard and understood by any being with the capacity of objective logic, understanding right from wrong. Okay? So you just want to say statute, policy, and code is law, and the law is the law, even though they're making it up and revising it constantly. And it's not always in line with objective right from wrong. So you're completely misunderstood. You guys talk from feelers. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Your etymology is never sound because you don't care to look into the words and terms. This should not be that difficult. But for beings who lost the ability to imagine, I'm sure that it's quite the Herculean task. You should be able to zoom out and see all the connections and how it relates. You can't do that. You have no business speaking to someone else who can. There is no selfless component to you folks' consciousness. And it's evident because you constantly project onto others how selfish you think they are, because you don't think that that state of consciousness is attainable. Embarrassing.
Listen to me. Listen to me. I want to help you. I want to help you live the life that you love. More importantly, a life that's inspiring and empowering objectively, right? You can't inject love necessarily into every situation at the expense of all the other aspects of creation and reality and dynamics. Good to be here today, as always. You know, we don't mess. We do what we do what we want. They do what they can. That's one of the phrases that we use over here, and that's triggering to some folks. Inspiration, confidence, empowerment, faith. That's triggering. It seems. Christos is here. Haven't seen him in a bit. He's been here. He might be playing in the background. A lot of the other usuals, the deplorables, are here. So let's go breaking news. I don't want to do too much yapping today. The link is down there if you absolutely have something you need to or want to present. If your bleeding heart wants a resolution with me because we've had a dust up in the past or I've just gone off on you in my usual way. JP is typing. I still dislike vertical layout. Can't just listen. Tarded. Well, JP, you and everyone else, this is where other folks need to take an active role in what goes on here and pretty much everywhere in their life. You folks should probably get on to research like I did. Find the YouTube legal team, contact YouTube support, and there's 60 people here right now. Maybe you just like send them a communication reminding them that you know and the rest of us know that like I just today I haven't been on the Paul and Slave channel in a while. Just today I went on there just to check things out, see if anything's changed. Couldn't get more than 40 people on a 24,000 subscriber channel. So it's like part of the reason I'm doing vertical is because people seem to get notifications. We seem to be on the main page. We seem to be in the algorithm. And when I don't do that, folks don't get notifications. It's just not the same vibe oftentimes. And there's a give and take with everything, right? When we are in the algorithm, we're tard heavy a lot of the time, right? So it's just, we're not looping one aspect of creation, we're looping audience interaction, aka me feeding on the trolls and doing a roast non-roast of all little pig slaves. But yeah, it's like take an active role, take some interest, be a part of the fucking team, non-team. You know, even if the majority of what goes on here is me running my mouth, it's like you're here, you're a part of it, one way or the other. You want things, you want formats, so reach out to people. Let them know that we know what's going on because I have other things going on, and that's not an excuse. At some point, I'll sue YouTube. I have my first handwritten lawsuit, as you know. So once we get some experience, it's going to be like a suing party. You know, like a lot of these white people have cutlery party, charcuterie board party, Ashton Kutcher party, where he hops out with a charcuterie board, charcuterie party, Ashton charcuterie party. I don't know what I'm saying. I think you get where I'm going, right? Start letting these people know that we know that it's ridiculous. The algorithm proves it because when I am in the algorithm, I do 6,000 to 7,000 repeat viewers a week straight. The other week, out of 8,000 subscribers, that makes more sense. And up to 10 to 15,000 new people with hundreds of subscribers a day, up to 100 or a couple at best. As you can see, there's many days, and there was about 2 years straight, every single day that never happened. I wasn't getting any of my subscribers. We were only getting the core group of folks who will be here no matter what. And I'm thankful and grateful for that. That's cool, but obviously there's some issues. There's something going on. So that's how we do that, by everyone seeing something. You see something, say something. Speak up for yourself, for me, for the truth. It's back to oriented toward justice. Some other folks today went other. See, now I have to do like they do. I don't have to, but I'm choosing to. I'm playing their game that they love so much. I'm better at it anyway. Some folks went some other places today and talked about some interactions we've had, but did it in the third person and weren't specific after agreeing to me face to face that they agree that they're fake and dysfunctional and toxic and won't keep it real. But I'm not going to mention them by name because then they'll go other places and play the victim. I'm so rough and so hard on people here who admit to me they're fucked up and have a past with fucked up behavior and sit around people who are fucked up with fucked up present behavior and make excuses for it. Right? So I don't want anyone to feel upset. I don't want anyone to feel controlled. I don't want anyone to be victimized by me attempting to hold all of us accountable and with what's real and not real. Okay. So it's just constant power gaming with these people. They wonder why I don't like or respect the majority of them. They don't sit around with anyone, let alone me, and actually care about the truth and doing and being having better. They just say yeah, and they notice things, and then they go other places and play games, and just to get me to talk about it again. And then they can double down on being a victim and do that for 3 years and say it's not sick and twisted and dysfunctional and, more importantly, unproductive, because you guys are doing this shit all for free. You don't get anything for it. You don't have channels that are successful. You're not part of changing anyone's life or being a part of working on the ground with anyone. You're just wasting your fucking time, energy, attention, and lives. And then if I talk about it with you and attempt to be somewhat fellowshipy or just straightforward and real and honest, every one of you becomes a victim at some point. It's the craziest thing ever. So I'm kind of over it, kind of over the whole Paulie's victimizing everyone, either directly talking about me or indirectly, third person bringing it up. It's fucking embarrassing. You guys are pathetic. You're grown. Many of you are 10, 15, 20, twice my age, if not 10, 15, 20 years older. And you just constantly play fucking power games and deflect and obfuscate and project and ignore and be arrogant and fake and put on this nice, kind, polite affect. You guys do whatever you want to do. Okay. I want that to be clear here. Regardless of how I address people and what I talk about and all the rest of it, at the beginning and the end of the day, as we say on the East Coast, please do whatever you want and need to do. Don't let me stop you from all your happiness and joy and prosperity. I don't want to be put down in the book as someone standing in the way of that for everybody. Okay. With that said, we're going to get right into the docket. My city's burnt to a crisp. Pasadena. Yep, that's where my buddy's family is from. He and I and others have been telling everyone for over a decade to get the fuck out of there. They didn't listen. Now they'll listen because they have no choice. So, newsflash, they're doing smart cities. Some folks are saying it's that. Some folks are saying it's an act of God. I tend to believe this was not an act of God. I was on Riadoso and other places. These people change their stories. They're not wanting you to believe it's them because they're covering up the natural God that they don't want everyone to align with. That's just my perspective. None of us know objectively what any of it is ever. But if I'm going to do a broadcast, then it kind of runs on me somewhat presuming, assuming, speculating, or going on the historicity of things, right? So the history shows that while we're having a godly experience here at times, there's also another side to that, or different aspects of that. One of them being what people call the devil, or the darker side of things. So I tend to believe that's more likely. Like, you guys were here the last 4 years. Was it God who did the vaccine? Was it God who locked everyone down? Was it, I don't know. Seemed like it was God working through me and few others to not have that happen, to no avail, because the majority are in the hands of the dark one. So, good luck for you guys who want to say, and again, maybe something I don't. I think it's a cope. But P. Diddy's house burned down apparently. Ellen's house, I think, burned down. Is it all a coincidence? Because this was happening on Maui and other places, and everyone was pretty conclusive. The trees weren't burned, but everything around it was, including concrete. And apparently certain things that were certain colors didn't burn. So tends to look like they're just using direct energy weapons to blast up everything and then build smart cities over top of it and put us more into debt, by the way. By us, I mean not me, U.S. corporation. So the thing that's ensconcing everyone potentially when it comes to products and services and movement in the public, whatever that is. So seems like that's more likely than God starting 4 fires to burn down all the places where everyone's getting accused of doing sex trafficking and a bunch of other bizarre and heinous shit, all at the same time, coincidentally. God just decided we're going to burn up all the potential places where folks live and have evidence of all their crimes, right in the same place they're announcing a 2028 smart city. It just happened to be that way. Okay. Whatever you want it to be. Again, it really just doesn't matter. See, this is the thing. Folks will constantly, with every event, sit around and argue, is it God, is the devil? It doesn't matter. Sorry to break down the fourth wall. It just doesn't fucking matter. What does matter is what every other individual man and woman is going to do, who, what, where, why, and when, and to what outcome. So everyone just keep coping. God did it. God's going to do it. God's going to do it all for us. I think there's going to come a point, like the scripture outlines, where these people are going to, they are going to do so much that they're going to breach some standard, and they're going to realize, and they're going to enlighten themselves and everyone else through self-chosen suffering, as we all experience here. So their walk is no different from every other being's walk here. Through their bad behavior, they will at some point come to a space of conscious and awareness and enlightenment about cause and effect and choices. But beyond that point, every day and every year and every month up until that, every single person here is a change maker and a choice maker. And if they're not doing that and being that, well, then they're not that. And they're subject to the whims of, the current that is created by others, the wake. So that's the whole point to me, if you ask me, and you're here. So I guess, I'll loop this again, probably looped this many times before, I'm sure. I know I have. That's seemingly the whole point of incarnating here. Not to just sit around and watch and argue about what's happening, but to actually make choices and have some skin in the game and be involved in your life and everyone else's life and the rest of our life here. How and what it's all happening doesn't seem to matter, right? Unless you believe that we only came here to just witness the devil and God have some cosmic fight where it uses people / doesn't use people. I don't know how that works. I guess uses only special people like Jesus, who are the only son of God. Everyone else is just a pawn here with no free will and free choice. They're only subject to the whims of history and the current and the wake that is made by other ships sailing on these waters, so to speak. Not buying into that. My life and everyone else's life shows that we have choices, and we make some, different things happen. We make others, different things happen. That's the whole reason why we're here. So keep arguing about it, keep fucking projecting onto it, keep coping in delusion and denial. Because again, what's the theme that's going to run through the middle of all this? The tards all up and down California from top to bottom are going to sit right there while they watch. They would all sit right there and continue to sit there as aliens landed, abducted everyone, as the whole place is just like fire could be raging through the whole thing, and they'll just sit there and they won't prepare, they won't work with each other, they won't establish a foundation or a structure, they won't practice, they won't drill, they won't secure their own selves and their rights, freedom, principles, spiritual faith, their future, and their property. They won't do it because the slaves, the slugs, have been so dumbed down and just lukewarm and watered down and disempowered and just infatuated and disintegrated by all the fear and the worry and the lack of faith in themselves and making a choice to do the next right thing, that it's like, well, what do we do? It's very slack cot 101. We're all leaders. We're all okay. We all have answers, but what do we do now? Right? That's always the rallying cry, it seems, or lack thereof. There is no rally, and then when the inevitable, invariable bad shit happens, it's like, oh, surprise, surprise. Didn't see that coming. Don't know what to do to stop it and don't know how to carry on. So we're pretty much at that point where a light age has to come at some point here, because we've gotten so far down the line from consciousness and awareness, common sense, to just complete disintegration and disempowerment, that I don't see where it goes from here except a swing around back to a light age or a fait accompli, so to speak, in the sense of, I guess they go full Matrix, get everybody with the wires in their head, kill the rest, make a bunch of beehive creatures out of these slaves and use their time, energy, and attention to, I guess, propel this system. To operate the gears of a seen and somewhat unseen system cosmically here. We need AIDS. I don't know what that means. If you want HIV, again, Mr. Slackcott Bar and Grill, down the hall to the left. We all have our own. Ever since COVID 19, we all work in the same establishment, but we have our own little area, like those restaurants. There's like wings here, over here, pizza over here, whatever over here, but it's all under the same roof. So there's a bar and grill down the hall and to the left in the same building. It's Mr. Slackcott's. Plenty of HIV and AIDS in there. I'm sure they'll be willing to give it out. All right, let's get to it. Let's go fire. See how they lie.
As soon as the
The
fires
way
broke
you
out,
lie.
FEMA approved fire management assistance grants to reimburse California for firefighting costs, and the president immediately
Over $4 billion.
approved the state's request for a major disaster declaration for California, allowing impacted communities and survivors to immediately access funds and resources to jumpstart their recovery. As you just heard from the president moments ago, we have made some progress over the last 24 hours. Overnight, local, state, and federal firefighters partially contained some of the largest wildfires. There is still a long way to go, but we will continue to be with the people of California every step of the way.
It's really hard right now on the cost of the disaster to put a number on it because we haven't been able to assess how much of the infrastructure has been damaged. I mean, we know the thousands of homes that have been impacted, but the real cost of these disasters comes from how much of the actual infrastructure has been damaged, the roads, the water system, the power, but also the soft costs and the economic impact. We know that this is going to be billions. And so we really want to continue to focus right now on whatever we can do to continue to support California in getting this fire suppressed and starting this recovery process. And again, thanks to the bipartisan support of Congress, we have enough funding to support those recovery efforts and these response efforts. Yeah, I mean, I would really defer to the city and the county for the specifics, but what I have been briefed is that it was an overload of the system, right? There were so many simultaneous fires that happened at once. There was multiple firefighting resources that were utilizing and using the water system to put out these fires, and it put a strain on the system, and it takes time for that system to then regenerate. But the specifics on it, I really just want to make sure that you talk with them. As we heard from, the Los Angeles City Fire Chief yesterday, they plan for this. They have other resources available with water tenders, and now we have the ability to fly the aircraft into these communities to help put that fire out. And so it really, you talk about the multiple simultaneous fires that started, and it just put a strain on the system from my understanding.
Right. President Biden committed to 100.
But God did it. Right? Multiple fires all started at the same time, and God did it. Yeah. Right. God did it on Rio Doso, where I was, burned all the houses and certain businesses down, left the trees standing, brought in the army, brought in FEMA, kicked everyone out, created a whole bunch more debt, sucked up a bunch of funds, and gave little to nothing back. So they were frauding and making money while they were lighting the fires. But God did it. Yeah, God's lighting all the fires state to state that are impacting certain communities and certain lands and potentially driving people out of there into other cities where that doesn't happen, right? God had them stand around and not fight the fires too, by the way, and stand down, right? You would think if God's starting these fires and none of these people know, you would think that they would be trying to fight them and put them out. No, they're standing down because God did it. They said, God, you started these fires. We're not going to put out fires that God started. Right. Hope is real, people. Hope is real. God's going to do it all. We don't have to do and be anything anymore here. We don't have to have common goals and values and ethics and communication skills. No. We just fucking degenerate and degrade and just live in duped out denial and delusion. And God's going to do it all as everything gets worse and worse. Incredible. God did the babies too. All the babies that come out one-eyed cyclops and with limbs that look like little fried potatoes. God did all that too. Yeah. God's doing it all constantly. Just sit back and do and be nothing. Don't give a fuck about your body politic or the environment because God's doing it all and it's going to do it all. Just like, let's just go right back to the lowest childlike state of consciousness where we're disempowered again. We have no say over anything that goes on. We're right back at the toxic house. It's completely devilish, in denial, in delusion, Babylonian, and God's doing it all. Everything, good, bad, and indifferent, everything in between. It's all God's doing. There's a difference between becoming like a child to get in the kingdom of heaven versus becoming so childish and incredulous that you refuse to accept the obvious reality that's being put in your face over and over again. That we all have power and choices here. We all have value. if we're valuable, we all have certain fate or destiny that's potentially laid out for us, and then we see what everyone else is doing and being. And there's no denying that there are certain groups of people here who want power and value, and they're going to get it by any means necessary. And if they have to convince a whole bunch of slaves to be weak and disempowered, duped out, and go along to get along, that's what the fuck they're going to do. And they're going to mock you, and they're going to blaspheme, and they're going to do humiliation rituals, and then they're going to give you your stories to cope with one way or the other. They're going to give you your Bible and tell you God's going to do it all, right? Or they're going to tell you Joe Biden's going to do it all. And the majority of folks fall into one camp or the other because it's just that fucking suggestible and predictable. If it's not the God's doing it all and going to do it all crowd, it's the Donnie and Joey are going to do it all and have done it all crowd, right? And there's not a damn bit of difference between them on the ground, on paper, when it comes to cause and effect and the results we're generating or not. And that's not a coincidence, by the way. Opposite dynamic. What's the thread going up the middle? Completely misaligned with reality and completely inactive and not resolute and not determined and disciplined and not co-creative. That's where they want you. Is it a wonder why supposedly God's people and the statist fascists are in the same fucking position in their lives? No, it's no wonder, because the statist fascists gave you your shitty religion and your false God and disconnected you from the true experience and gave you your political science. So you all act the same way. De facto, on the ground, it all amounts to the same thing in will or not. Because it's an opposite dynamic. Fear is at the core of you folks. You're afraid that these people have power and what they're doing and the God of this world. And instead of you nutting up to it and looking it in the eyes and facing it and moving past it and allowing Shaitan to give you safe passage, you want to cope. Donnie and Joey are doing it all, are going to do it all. God's doing it all and going to do it all. You're not doing shit. That's what the conversation should be. And it never is. It never fucking is, for some odd reason. Some odd reason, the main conversation that should be had has never been had on these panels, in the Discords, on the Telegram, anywhere. How they're all sitting around laughing and giggling, heart-facing shit, sharing a bunch of other people's crap, and never going, what are we gonna do and be and create and build now? Instead of sitting in Pasadena or whatever, Spokane, Washington, or some other shitty suburb or corrupted mountain town that they're going to wait to burn down and turn into a smart city. What the fuck are you all doing right here and now? And what have you not done? That conversation, unless Paulie Boy's talking to himself, essentially, or 3 to 5 other beta males on here who've tried to suck off me and use me. It's probably 15 or more. I lose track of them. There's so many of them. That conversation never happens. Because it's just fucking easier to go, God's doing it all, God's going to do it, or Donnie and Joey are going to do it. Absolutely fascinating and incredible. And that's what's going to go down in the history books once again, like it always does. Two sides of the same fear-based cult of inactivity. Thoughts, questions, comments, concerns? You literally have a few thousand people who come here every fucking day for a few hundred days straight, 1,000 days straight, as I like to say, about 3 years. You know, I don't know what to say. And how many conversations do you think you've seen of people like jacking off in the chat boxes and everywhere else? How many things have you seen of, hey, you reach out to me. Hey, you reach out to me. Let's get something going. Let's spend some of the money we don't have. Because now they're on panels talking about how it's great to not work. Some folks who won't be named were just at some place that won't be named, just like sitting there going, oh my God, it's getting a lot harder. A lot of people aren't going to have anything. Where have you been? Where have you all been? I've only been saying this 5 years while you've been here. There's a reason many of you don't have shit, because you spend 6 to 8 hours on the internet for free, bitching, whining, complaining, and jacking off with a bunch of other loser failures. Where have you been for that conversation? So it's no wonder why a lot of this shit's happening. Why are you guys this retarded? You show up and it's a shock to you. You're surprised and don't know why it's happening. I know why. Just ask me. Oh, wait, it's unpopular when I give you the truth. So you guys aren't victims. This isn't an accident. It's happening for a reason. It's going to get worse because you won't do and be what's necessary to get what you want and have what you need. This isn't that difficult. You don't have anyone to blame. Your circumstances and situation didn't do it. It's you and everyone around you and who you keep dealing with and who you're not dealing with and how you're dealing or not. Stop fucking whining and complaining. Stop projecting onto others. Stop making fucking excuses and stop putting yourself in the category with everyone else. There's a ton of other people who are not in lack, loss, and abandonment right now because they spend pretty much every day working on themselves and working in the world and serving something instead of jacking themselves and other people off in delusion and denial. Hello. Absolutely incredible. Imagine this. Can you imagine this? You don't have to imagine it. The freak show is evident. These are people who we've watched for the last 3 years spend 6 to 8 hours a day on 3 different broadcast panels. 3 different broadcast panels for the last 3 years, 6 to 8 hours a day. Imagine if you fuck slaves who did that all for free and wasted your fucking time, took 6 to 8 hours a day and started your own fucking busyness, started your own ministry. Serve something outside of yourself instead of identifying with the problems and dysfunction and jacking off online. You wouldn't be crying about how so many of us don't have anything. We're broke. We're going into a world where less and less people are going to have money. That's not everyone's experience. Some people's experience are they're getting more and more because they're doing what they're supposed to, because they're adapting, they're evolving, they're growing, they're changing. They're able to meet life on life's terms. They're willing and able and disciplined enough to put in the work and the time to get what they want and need and have. Stop fucking... If you're going to talk about your story and tell it as other people's story, finish the story about why it's happening most of the time. It's not because you folks are disabled. It's not because you folks are too stupid. It's not because you folks don't have opportunity. There's more opportunity now than ever. It's because you're dumb, not most of you. So mark that one off. I'd love it to be that, but it's not. For a fact, right? I actually don't want it to be that way. For a fact, I'd like it to be that way so I can pop shit, but it's not. Put that away. You're not that dumb. You're not as smart as the god of all media, but you're not that dumb. Lazy, procrastinating. Oh, we're getting to something. Hello. And that's what I know about me too. So hi, let's start a club together. Lazy, procrastinating at one point, if not now, and still have to work on that with myself with certain things, right? Ignorant of reality and what needs to happen because you'd rather do and be something else. Okay. You know, should we go on here? You know where I'm going. It's the same rap day in and day out. And you guys are either going to come up here and be the other person you are if you do come up here, or you're going to listen, know what I'm saying is right, and then go somewhere else and be the other person and act like you didn't hear it and didn't experience it and don't know what's happening. Okay, so newsflash, you don't get to come in this life and do whatever you want to do and still be and have and get the way you want to or the way you need to. That's how life works. So I don't know, a lot of you in your 30s and 40s, 50s and 60s and still you're so autistic, I guess, or you're just so in denial, ignorant and arrogant, you can't figure out how life works. I don't care if you go to the middle of the rainforest and want to be part of a tribe. If you're not going to walk alone in life and you're going to be part of a community, the community is going to expect certain things of you. The main thing is to fucking care for yourself and contribute to the society or the community or the goal here, presuming we have shared goals. Do the fucking minimum. How about that? Can you imagine this? These are people who are crying about not having and being enough when they can't exist or survive at this point in any culture, society, or tribe. Couldn't have them. Because they don't just want to do the minimum and the basics. They have no more survival instinct. And it's right on time because Klaus Schwab says, oh, nothing, be happy. Do nothing, be better off for it. You don't have to do and be. Just fucking slug around, bitch, whine, and complain, make fucking excuses and justifications, and stick your fat hand out. Because you're entitled to love, you're entitled to benefits, services, products, privileges. You're entitled to it all, says the broken child, without doing and being, creating, or serving to get and have. Interesting. You guys think that you're godly and righteous and virtuous? You're the devil's children. It's exactly what the devil's children live like and do like. We're entitled to love and everything. Give us the whole world so we can shit on it and squander it and then complain about how it wasn't enough when you have more fucking opportunities than ever, right? Because you're too good for all that is at the core of all you people's consciousness. You're not like me and others here, where we our whole life at this point is existing to just do and be and serve, to have the minimum and do and be the minimum, and then conquer the maximum in certain ways. Most of it emanating from inside self. You're not any of that. You don't want any tests, challenges, trials, consequences, sacrifices, but you want the whole world on a silver platter. And when it doesn't show up, you're going to cry about it and make excuses. And I'm a bully because I point out common fucking sense reality. The same tards who want to do away with a non-monetary system because life's going to be so much better off. It won't, because you'll still have to do and be and get to have. Climb the tree and get the fruit. Plant the fucking seeds and harvest the plants. Collect the water and carry it in buckets. You ain't going to do that. You don't want to do the minimum. You don't want to do what's necessary. So keep fucking dreaming. This monetary system, for a lot of you slaves, whether you realize it or not, is the best thing that ever happened to your life. You can live your whole life off credit without being credible. Are you kidding? You guys want to remove this system that has padded your ego and given you so much safety and comfort without doing and being to get to have, like people did in the past? Imagine this. Imagine these tards who don't want to do the minimum now and could have a whole life off credit without being credible, having to go back to sharpening an axe, building an axe out of sticks and metal and rocks, putting it all together, sharpening it, cutting trees down to build a house, and everything else that comes with surviving, let alone thriving. Are you fucking kidding me? Absolutely laughable and embarrassing. And you pass this shit off like other people can't see you for who and what you are and know what's going on. Absolutely like broken children in middle school who've not evolved emotionally enough to realize other people can see you and know what you're saying and doing, and it's absolutely illogical and ridiculous. And when it comes out of your mouth, it's embarrassing to you. Time to get real with ourselves and each other. Time to grow the fuck up. Time to stop making excuses and justification. It's a cold world if you let it be. It's a kiln for fortification if you let it be. Clay and iron style, right? Like they talk about in scripture. The clay of the flesh, the iron of the spirit, which is eternal in truth, co-creative. That's what happens when you're godless, trustless, faithless, iniquitous. I know it's iniquitous. I say iniquitous slave. You're not warmed by the presence of God and that blood in you. You're a death worshiper. So to you, it's a cold world. Not to motherfuckers who have the warmth of God in their heart, who understand what it's like to be a part of a bigger process and procedure. See, you folks are alienated. That's the problem. You've disintegrated and disconnected from your true heart-based humanity. You're alienated. You want to make excuses about it. You want to cry about it. You want to project the reason instead of figuring out what's going on psychologically, subpsychologically, and practicing to rectify it and creating a new character and beingness and getting different fucking results. Questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, emotions, actions, called hubris. Well, that's just a different way of talking about ignorance and arrogance. Ignorance and arrogance together, you could argue, is hubris. I guess I could argue it. I could argue anything. No, man, it's a house of cards. We're seeing the effects everywhere. I don't know what that means. Sounds like you want to go down the road of excuse making. I'm not talking about an objective system. I'm not talking about a financial system, political system, any of that. I know that's all a house of cards. Right? That has nothing to do with logic, moral ethics, co-creation, cause and effect. Nothing to do with it. Paul, you're looking very healthy. Keep it up. I'm still having a lot of pain in my lungs. I'm not sure if it's the gallbladder or the lungs, but it feels like potentially one or both. But I'm just gonna keep doing the best I can and have faith, and presume that in faith that I will be healed. All right, let's go to the next breaking slave news. Trump gets no punishment. Hush money cases is apparently big news for all the tards. Leftists are going to go wild.
At 3. President-elect Donald Trump appearing virtually in court today to be sentenced in his New York hush money case. This will make him the first U.S. president to take office with a criminal conviction. But the president-elect will not face any prison time.
Local 10's Christina Vasquez is joining us. She is live right now outside of Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Palm Beach with more on what that ruling actually means for the president-elect. Christina.
What it means is that there is no fine, there is no prison time, there's no probation. The judge in this case essentially ending the case without punishment. As you mentioned, Donald Trump did join that hearing that was in New York virtually from the comfort of his waterfront Palm Beach resort, where that judge did impose the lightest sentence available under New York state law.
I'm totally innocent. I did nothing wrong.
Donald Trump virtually appearing at his hush money case sentencing hearing Friday morning, a judge deciding the president-elect won't serve time or pay a fine. Last summer, Donald Trump became the first former president to be convicted on felony criminal charges. In May, a New York jury found him guilty of illegally falsifying 34 New York business records in order to illegally influence the 2016 election, and what the DA's office called a catch and kill scheme to cover up a 6-figure payment to Stormy Daniels, a porn star who said she had sex with Trump, claims Trump has denied.
I did nothing wrong. By the way, I did nothing, absolutely nothing wrong.
Trump chided the jury's decision of guilt on 34 felony counts, and he attempted to skirt sentencing by asking the Supreme Court for help. But on Thursday, in a 5-4 vote, the Supreme Court denied his request to halt his hush money sentencing.
Far from expressing any kind of remorse for his criminal conduct, the defendant has purposefully bred disdain for our judicial institutions and the rule of law.
During Friday's proceeding, a judge finalizing his felony conviction, choosing one of the most lenient sentences allowed under New York state law, unconditional discharge, which according to the New York Penal Code is a sentence imposed without imprisonment, fine, or probation supervision. A sentence of unconditional discharge is for all purposes a final judgment of conviction. A final judgment of conviction. So essentially what happens is that case is now over, and this formalizes his status as a felon. It also allows Donald Trump to now formally start the appeal process. And it also means that on January 20th, for the first time in United States history, a convicted felon will be sworn in as president. Reporting live for you, I'm Christina Vasquez, Local 10 News.
And all the tards are now running around. They think that they're smart, they're wide-eyed, and they look whacked out. And they're, oh, so all of a sudden the right wing has no problem electing a felon for president. And laughing and giggling like they're making a point. You people are also retarded on both sides. I can't stress that enough. I'm sure I do on this broadcast. I can't stress it enough. There's not enough of me saying it that will really drive it home. Just say oh yeah, like Donnie's, Donnie's the felon now. Like according to like he's done loss, injury, and harm or what? You're saying he did some things on some paperwork somewhere, some records. He's a felon. They love the game, right? These people are so in and of the world and the political system. They have no life of their own that they love to live through these people and play the game of know your daddy, know my daddy, right? Your daddy, know your daddy. That's all they have left. So, and what's the difference ultimately? Because like I said, on both sides, the Republicans are so retarded. They're going to elect somebody to give them rights, freedom, and principles and spiritual faith. How does that work? Exactly. It doesn't. And the last 4 years proved it. And they're going to do it again. And again and again and again. Female cops get own Epic ID refusal. I'm going to check out of here. It seems pretty early. I may do not much more than an hour. The loop is monotonous at times. There's no escaping the loop. I'm okay with that. But for broadcasting from like a third party perspective, I guess, the loop can be maddening. The loop can be a bit monotonous. Every loop. How long do you think society will stand now? I'm not making some kind of objective claim that there's going to be some lack of a culture or society or various communities. Conceptually, historically, empires, if you will, rise and fall from prosperity to corruption and degradation. So, where one is destroyed, another takes its place. We know that. So, have no fear if you're looking to pay tariff tax and be a feudal serf slave and, submit to some oligarchy, aristocracy. It'll be there in some form, shape, fashion, as it has been since your birth, right? So, no need to worry. It'll carry on in a different form, doing the same activities with the same types of people, going along to get along with it and funding it. It'll just be called something else, like it always is. Yeah, I don't think that that's a big worry. Will there be some tests and challenges and potentially a lot of folks killed and a lot of folks losing their pretty and nice things along the way? Of course. That's part of the game. That's what makes it work. That's what makes it so effective. It's a fear-based reality at everyone's core, driving them to do certain things and keeping them away from doing other things. So, of course, a lot of people have to die and a lot of pretty and nice things have to be taken to convince the rest of the slaves to just go along to get along. That's what's so amazing. It's like being on a farm. Every so often they take it's ratio based. So like if there's 10 million of us on the farm, every so often they take 2-3 million people out back, got them, do it in front of everybody. You can see off in the distance, right? They hung them up, gutted them, just completely lived off of them, licked their fingers. And the rest of the folks in the pen go, oh, well, better just keep our head down, stay to the corner of the pen. If we let everyone else get in front of us, we'll always be alive because everyone else will get dragged off and gutted. We'll just kind of scurry to the back, just kind of avoid. And then at some point, either the pen is stocked constantly. So maybe, 2/3 always get away, a third always gets away. But for the rest of the third or the 2/3, they get gutted and slaughtered and done in front of everybody. So the rest know to just keep their head down, avoid, stay to the back of the pen, don't moo too loud, don't get in the human's way. There's no difference in farming slaves as animals. Let's tell it what it is. So yeah, man, this is part of the loop that I was just talking about. Another loop, part of that loop. This is what the war is for. This is what the diseases are for and all the rest of it. And then the best part about it is instead of the animals or the people going, well, regardless of whatever we do, 1/3 of us at a time are going to get taken out back, gutted and slaughtered and eaten. We may as well just take our chances and jump out the box. They don't. They have the opposite response. Oh, man, something bad's likely to happen. So I'm just going to stick around until something bad is likely to happen. There's no logic to it. It's purely based in fear-based emotion that is not rational and sensible. But it works to keep everyone in line, following orders, never jumping out of the box, to be lived off of, sucked off of. It just does. You would think logically, like if it was logical, rational, hey, they're going to gut us anyway, let's jump out of the box. No, that's not the response. It's not the reaction. They're going to gut us, so let's keep our head down and act like a bunch of passive, cucked out slaves. Maybe they won't get too mad when they kill us humanely. That's the logic, non-logic. Maybe they won't get too uppity and they'll kill us humanely when they finally do it, right? Okay, if that's what you're into. What does that mean, by the way? I always wonder when they use that term that the animals or whatever was killed humanely. What does that mean? What, they prolong the suffering? That's the image I get of humane killing, is prolonging the suffering. What do you suggest we do? I don't suggest anyone do anything. I tell you and show you what I'm doing and what others are doing and why it makes sense to me. Then you decide. I'm pretty sure you must have just joined me because I'm pretty sure at the beginning of this ramble, rant, non-ramble rant, it's the same loop pretty much every day to a different degree. I already said indirectly or directly what should be done. You know, you have thousands of people around you who you call woke. You say you know who you are and what you need to do. If you have any faith and trust and equity and courage within you, you'll step out on that and do it. And do it with other people who live that way. If not, then just do everything you've always done and get what you've always got and expect it to get worse, and then you'll be okay. But if you want it to get better, you want to do better, be better, have better, well, then there's a clear path to that on every level. Then you got to walk it. I'm confused. Who is Paul talking about? We know you're confused. I'm talking to you. Every question contains its own answer. Every problem contains its own solution. The problem is awareness. I'm confused, period. Who is Paul talking to? I'm talking to the confused. Other than myself, I'm not that confused, I would say. If anything, I've been characterized as a know-it-all. So I'm the opposite of confused. So if you're claiming to be confused and you're asking who I'm talking to, you're probably the one. Seems the majority of folks in this realm are very confused. I'm talking to them. And I'm talking to an aspect of me to remind me constantly. It's mantra, you know, in a way. That's part of the loop is mantra. To remind myself and others here what we could and should be doing and being. Because next week I'm going to Oregon. And the fear is going to come up again about getting property. And it's going to come up with Jennifer, because it always does. And then we're going to have to push past that into faith to do the next right thing, to have land and start growing. And not be living around a bunch of toxified, ignorant, arrogant, masked up, baxed out slaves. So I guess the boil down is be free, inspired, and empowered. That's the solution to all fucking problems in this life. Have a care. I'm not going to say love, because as soon as I say love, they go right into their warm, gushy feelers that allow them to not do and be shit. Have a care. Okay. And do the next right thing. Be inspired, be empowered, be co-creative. That's the solution to all of our problems. Inside and out. How's the fasting going? It must be going somewhat decent because it's day 27. No food fast challenge / healing event. All right. Let's see what I got up here. Maybe people should learn to take self-accountability. Yes, and I'm a people and you're a people. We're all people. So yes, people should learn and practice, not learn, practice more radical authenticity and accountability. We can do and be and have better. I agree, sir. I'm doing that. I'm attempting to do that. I'm sure I need to do more of that. Female cops owned epic ID refusal.
I'm sorry, are you going to threaten me, officer?
Are you trying to cause a scene right now? Because I'll arrest you for disorderly instead.
Blame him up.
Why? I'm doing what I'm doing.
No, you're attempting to cause a scene here with.
No, I'm not. You just threatened to hit me.
You most certainly are.
You just threatened to hit.
It's neither. So if you don't have a reason to pull me over, sir, man, am I on my way? Am I being detained?
Yeah.
For what? Questions. For what law?
Why are you driving around this building like
For what law am I being detained?
Hey folks, welcome back to the channel, where we talk about police interactions to make sure you know your rights and understand the legal rules for filming in public. In this video, Mr. Ashlock was in an app escalating the situation.
Stop taking my photograph.
Nice to the officer. Be a gentleman.
Yeah, well, that goes both ways.
Right there.
That goes both ways.
Get that camera out of my face.
I'm on public property. I can do what I want.
That's not public property.
I am now.
You are so rude. Are you recording me?
I'm in public. I'm a news person.
Hold on. Are you recording right now?
I am videotaping, which is in my constitutional rights.
It most certainly is not.
It certainly is. In public, I have the right to record video and ambient noise. And
this is not
law enforcement has no respect, no expectation of privacy when you're doing your job. You're in uniform. You just threatened to bash me in the face, officer. That is a crime. Just because you have a badge does not mean you can threaten people to bash them in the face.
I hope you're. What crime was that?
I'm going to continue to roll on this, just so you know. The Boston police tried to. This is case law, right here. You got to study up on your law.
Oh, I forgot that you're a policeman.
You don't have to be abusive to me and threaten to smash me in the face with my camera because I took a photo and asked a question.
That's not what
This is the United States of America. Last time I checked, and I'm in public, and you just made a bunch of noise towards me, and I don't appreciate it.
I walked away from you and you followed me. Okay, that's what happened. I suppose we'll have to seize your camera as evidence, right?
You're not seizing my camera unless you have due cause.
This interaction between the auditor and the female police officer shows how quickly things can heat up when communication falls apart. The auditor was exercising his First Amendment right to record in public, which is completely legal. Courts have consistently ruled that police officers, when on duty and in public, don't have an expectation of privacy. So the auditor had every right to film. The real issue came when the officer allegedly threatened to harm the auditor. That's a big problem. Police officers are supposed to stay professional, even if they're frustrated or uncomfortable. Threatening violence, especially when no crime is happening, is an abuse of power and only makes people trust law enforcement less. At the same time, the auditor didn't help calm things down either. Repeatedly accusing the officer of threatening him, while understandable, seemed to escalate the tension further. The back and forth argument only made the situation worse. Staying calm and respectful even when you're in the right can sometimes be the best way to diffuse these moments. This whole encounter is a reminder for both sides. Citizens have the right to record public officials, and officers should respect that right. But handling tense situations with caution and clear communication is just as important. For anyone watching, the lesson here is to know your rights and stay calm under pressure to avoid unnecessary conflict.
How you doing, officer? Not much. No, I'm just taking pictures in public.
All right, Butterbean's not going to let it go. Butterbean, do you see the link there? Did I pin the link? Can you see this link? And if you can't click it, it's going to be real difficult because I just did it yesterday on O'Shea's. You're going to have to memorize 8 letters there and type them into your browser. StreamYard.com/ and then those letters. So come on up here because it's the third time you said, and now you're getting even more passive aggressive and you're projecting because you're going, I've dealt with you slaves all my life and I know what you do. I got you pinned to every level. I know what road you go down. Like I cut you off at the pass. So you're now doing the thing of you need to smoke more weed in order to figure out what I'm talking about and who I'm talking to. So since you if you don't have any weed on hands, you can tap into my high frequency because I'm just so like cloudy and high, and I'm just like word salading so hard. Just we'll make this real easy and quick and simple. Just get on up on the panel, see if you can figure out how to memorize those 8 letters in a row, type them into your browser, and then I'll show you directly who I'm talking to. Because I'm going to bet anything. This is where it gets fun and interesting and it's audience participation based. I'm going to bet anything that if I ask you 5 to 10 questions, you're going to answer them all how I predict you will answer them. And that will illuminate who and what you are at the core and how you live. And it will also concretely show, through an evidentiary process, who I was talking to all along. Because the odd part about this is while you're frantically down there over and over saying, who's he talking to? Who's he talking to? He's too high for me to figure it out. On a subconscious level, it's you I'm talking to. And you're either pretending to, or your survival cope mechanism, like it's like a second eyelid on a beaver. Like the beaver has a second eyelid so it doesn't get water into its eyes. You have a second eyelid so no truth can penetrate through the windows of your soul, right? And through those ears. You have ear flaps like a beaver that don't get water or truth in, and you have eye flaps that come down. So nothing can enter any orifice, right? While you just vomit out your frontal orifice. So hit that link or type it in, get up here. I'm going to ask you 5 to 10 questions. You're going to answer them in a predictable fashion, revealing who I was talking to all along, which you subconsciously know that already. It's why you're so frantic in the chat, because you know on some level it's you I'm talking to. I'll take a bow now because it's the same psychological, sub-psychological, sociological game with the majority of you folks. And you don't, either you can't see who and what you are and what's going on, or you don't think I can. Maybe a combination of both.
Like building, that's all.
Why?
I'm just doing a story.
Story about what? Well, like.
Do a story of that.
Come on ahead. I can't talk to you.
Sure.
You live in Marlboro or what? You live in Marlboro?
I'm a New Jersey resident.
Okay.
To be clear, I also took a short bus to school at one point because I was segregated from mainstream classes for behavioral problems. Imagine that. The weirdest thing ever. What later led to everything that became who and what I am, doing a broadcast and talking and lecturing, I guess, orating, communicating, fellowshipping, wasn't really well received, right? Like this is where genius, I guess, or some ability or just entertainment goes overlooked, like the public fool system. Because I also took a short bus to school because I was put in special ed for behavioral problems. Because while the teachers were talking, I preferred to talk over them and do my own broadcast from the back of the room. And they didn't quite like that. I could never understand it. I go, I'm just as good as you. Why can't I do some talking here? It's only for you. Right. The person at the front of the room is the only one who gets to speak, has any status and standing and say in the matter, right? It's a lot like when you go to court. Well, I don't like playing that way. I have a different idea of how this game's supposed to be played. That was never well received till later on in life. So they overlooked the genius, they overlooked the entertainment, they overlooked the information, the perspective, the conscious awareness, the understanding, and all the rest of it. They overlooked my personal choice and free will that God gave me. You know, they had their own ideas of how things were supposed to go.
Yeah, that's why I'm here, you know.
Okay.
Wait, what's your name, sir?
Officer Murray.
Badge number 130?
Oh, okay, I see. Step outside. Let's step outside.
Let me ask you, what are you filming for?
Oh, I'm doing a story. I was telling him I'm doing a story.
On what?
On the building, on, you know, just not just here. I was at the municipal area. Yeah. I'm also gathering some stuff, you know, some content, you know.
What are you doing the filming for?
For? Oh, you know, the whole Marlboro community.
Do you have an idea on this so we know who we're talking to?
Well, you said you want us to talk outside, right? Yeah, no problem. Oh. All right. So yeah, so can I help you guys?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you have an idea of what's going on, right? All right, so.
I need your ID so I can actually identify who I'm speaking to.
Well, my name is Sergio. That's my Sergio. Well, that's all you got to know, right, Sergio?
No, I need to know your first name and last name.
Why you need to know my information, sir?
Because I need to verify that I'm speaking to a real person.
I am a real person.
Yeah. Well, I need a person with
Sergio is only your first name.
Right.
Right.
I know your last name.
Well, what do you need it for, sir? I haven't done anything, right?
So say something goes sideways. Yeah. So say something goes sideways down the line, and so you got a library right down the street.
Okay.
Say you get no notification with somebody at the library.
All right.
You know, and the only description that they give me is that there was a Hispanic appearing male, had tattoos on his arms, red shirt, blue jeans, white sneakers.
Okay. What does that have to do with anything?
Hang on. Let me go.
Let him finish.
Yeah, let's say, hold on. Oh, I want to play now. If you're going to play, I'm going to play. Let's say you're walking away from this interaction and you fucking spontaneously combust, all right? And your bone fragments go into someone's eyes. And all we have is a Latino male who's 5'8". What are we going to do then? Hot shot? Well, it doesn't really matter because I'll be dead. So can't actually charge me. Like, what's the point of talking about all the hypothetical situations that could happen in order for you to criminalize me now so you can get something I don't have to give you? Another fucking power game. That's why your wives don't like you or respect you. That's why your wife's going to take 50% of your cop money and come spend it with daddy. And I don't really go nowhere or do too much. So it'll just be like 3XLT Walmart t-shirts of one color, 2, 3 colors. It'll be like, you know, potentially something at a Costco. Large tub of, it would have been that, not anymore. I'm changing my ways, fasting and the rest of it. See, old habits die hard. No more Subway. That's poisoned, you know. Whatever. I mean, at least I'll have the option to spend up half of that cop money, but I don't really do much and go too many places. But it'll still piss you off, and that's what counts.
That call goes out over the radio.
This is exactly what they do with their women.
Say this interaction's over, and I let you
I'm
go.
over this because it's on the document. There you go.
But say I let that interaction go by,
Okay.
and I don't get any identification.
All
Say
right.
you assault that person.
All right.
You know, you actually commit a crime. You hurt them. They got to go to the hospital. We need to bring criminal charges against that person. Correct?
Mhm. So do you stop?
No, hang on.
Okay.
Would you, if you were that person that had been assaulted, would you want criminal charges pressed against whoever had assaulted you, matching that description? Guy in the red shirt, blue jeans, white shorts, Hispanic-looking male with the tattoos and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like that to happen to that person that potentially assaulted you?
You done talking, sir? Or
No. I'm asking you for an answer because you're not even listening to me.
No, I'm listening to you.
No. But I'm asking you for a response. And you're not giving me a response.
Right. Well, I don't answer questions, sir.
You don't what?
I don't answer questions.
But you just answered the question. So how do you not answer questions?
I don't answer questions, sir.
Okay.
Can you answer me a question though?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you go anywhere and do you ask everybody for an ID? Yeah. Is that what you're saying? Is this a stopping?
All right. I want to play again. I want to go again. Let me just go one more time. Hypothetically, let's say everyone in a position of supposed false power was completely retarded or autistic or fear-based and had no ability to make any kind of discerning, judgmentally sound decision on what's actually happening at any time, anywhere with anyone. Just hypothetically, let's say that. Do you think that might lead to a downfall of a society, a culture, a community, an empire that maybe was once prosperous? I'm just we're doing the hypothetical thing here. If you can play, I can play. Just asking.
An ID identify state, is it?
No, basically what we're asking is not everybody walks up and down.
Right.
Going into public buildings, filming the certain things, and then just walking out, and then walking down the road and filming the grounds and everything else like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the grounds.
Is that is it illegal, sir?
It's not illegal, but
It's not illegal, but it's a little confusing.
So we're asking you.
So you're going off by suspicious?
Yes, we're suspicion. That's what we do. That's what we do for a living.
Is suspicion a felony?
Hang on a second. You're asking a question. I'm going to give you an answer.
Right.
It's a community caretaking issue.
Okay.
So I'm asking.
These are literally people who, if they didn't do this job, could not work a living anywhere. This guy couldn't put tires on the car at the Walmart auto section. He's too fucking slow and retarded. He could barely talk. So, is it normal to walk through here and film? Imagine. Can you imagine this? You don't have to imagine it. We're in a nightmare. The most autistic, retarded, undiscerning people just shave their heads, put on costumes, and go, we're somehow credible. And it's like, no, your magic's not completely working on me. It's working on everyone else, but doesn't work completely on me because I can still see you're retarded. I can still see you can barely talk. So I'm thinking you have no business telling me or anyone else how to live and what to do. And it just continues because you saw what that old fuck, see, there's a fat fuck and an old fuck. I'm one, he's the other. And I'm getting better. I'm working on it. It's a process. You heard him. He walked by. He said, why don't you be a gentleman and be nice to the officer? You are the problem. Someone preheat an oven for that fucking slave. Someone preheat an oven for that slave because we're going to do some air frying today. They love their fucking genocide and slavery. Why don't you be a gentleman to the authoritarian? Because I'm not a cucked out bitch like you of any age. Doesn't matter how old you are. These people go, respect your elders. I don't respect anybody who's not respectable. I don't trust anyone who's not trustworthy. Low lives. Instead of him, and they did the same thing with me. Instead of them sucking my feet for doing what they should be doing that they're not, they say, thank you for your service, officers. They're locking people up and bringing them to a box. Good thing I don't play victimhood consciousness. I know them for who and what they are. I know myself. I know why they do it. I don't take it personal. They know not what they do. I forgive them, but I don't forget. And I advise you folks not to forget either. This is who and what they are. This is who they side with and what they side with. They will sit there and laugh and giggle and promote it and pay for you to get strung up or brought to a box. And then say, you shouldn't have been rude to the authoritarian while they're interfering with everybody's fucking rights and free choice. Sick. That's why, by the way, all you boomer scum who can't find your ass with both hands, that's why you all wind up alone. That's why your wives and children don't fucking respect you and wipe your ass when it's time to, right? It's why we don't like and respect you and don't want to be around you. You're a cucked out, pathetic embarrassment. Imagine a man saying this. Imagine a man sticking up for a feminist authoritarian trying to tell another man what to do, ever. You wonder why it's all done and over with. You wonder why the whole thing needs a complete overhaul from top to bottom. Timothy, your thoughts? I'm about ready to wrap up. I'll give you a moment here.
Greetings. Thoughts? Yeah, I mean, I think the deeper problem is like these folks are, because like if there was a community of folks that was smaller and there's 100 people, I get it. There's suspicious activity. We want to see what's going on, right? So there's a problem when it's like 100,000 people and nobody knows each other, and obviously they're being overbearing, right? But yeah, and then like, what is the social contract? Everybody just presumes, or at least, the costume folks presume that everybody's under the jurisdiction, and then most of the slaves, agree. So, but then when 5% don't jive with, jive turkey with the turkey, it's confusing. Everybody's confused. Wait, you're not under my jurisdiction? Yes, you are. You're within the bounds of the city of XYZ. So, but back in the day, right? The popo would like be respectful, cordial, and not just break everyone's rights. They would just ask questions, be like, hey, what's going on here? There's a wild brown man reported doing crimes that has a tattoo. Did you see anything like that? No. All right. See you later. But everybody gets what they deserve. So it is what it is, folks.
So Butterbean's continuing, proving it doesn't matter if you're blind in one eye and have a stutter problem. You'll still try to weaponize whatever your supposed disability or incompetence is to try to manipulate me, and I don't appreciate it. I respect you less for that. So, like, newsflash: the majority of slaves who come here are technically blind in both eyes and choose to stutter problem because they can barely talk. So you're like in the majority here. Don't expect to get special treatment from me because you're blind in one eye and have a stutter problem. These people live a stutter lifestyle, stutter step style, and are blind in both eyes technically. If you look at their road and everything else, all three eyes, right? So let's just get away from that. Okay, you're still accountable and responsible for what you type and do and say, and you're not going to like weaponize your supposed disability to try to tug on my heartstrings to avoid truth. That's not how that works. And you're obviously, that's how sick people like you are. You sit around all day waiting to pop out the whole I'm blind in one eye and stutter so people go, aw, and don't hold you accountable. If you want the fake ass shit, the channel is at Jack Talcott. I'll even give it now. I don't give it. If you want the fake ass jacking off session where everyone weaponizes their actual or feigned incompetence to play favorites and be special boy and not be accountable, act Jack Talcott, please. There'll always be a seat there for you. And they'll be willing to bullshit you and each other. They'll identify with problems together. They'll avoid accountability and reality and choose to live in delusion and denial while weaponizing their incompetence. While also being arrogant, ignorant, and projecting onto people without the facts. So that's what you did at first. You tried to play the game that I'm an idiot, not making any sense. You then invoked weed. Okay, so you were being a sarcastic, snarky, projecting douche. Then I had to correct you because you're confused. Then you didn't like the correction, so you've apologized 3 times now to make sure that I see it. And on the last one, threw in your disabilities to manipulate even further. I don't like people like you. I don't respect that. That's not how you get respect in life, because I don't treat anyone special or unique or different, because I don't hold myself in such high regard that I can't talk to someone who stutters and is blind in one eye about fucking truth and who and what they are and bettering their life. What the fuck does one have to do with the other? Thoughts on any of that? Was that too harsh? Was I being mean?
Well, according to livewithoutfear.com, the philosophy of the duality of life for Jack Talcott, choosing love or choosing fear. Choosing fear is negative feelings, and then the negativity controls us. So don't do that. Choose love, and go there, and they'll give you false love on the face of it, and they'll kind of accept you for like a minute or two and let you kind of like sit on the panel or sit down in the chat.
You can be a talisman. You can be a totem for their loser failure club. That's all that everyone is. They're their own totem talisman that Slackcock can point to and go, see, someone's here with me and like me. You know? That's great. It's a good power base.
Yeah.
It's a good disempowered base.
Never actually get any real resolution, except how do you help Jack get to the UN? So down the hall on the left, folks. Make your
when
way
you get
there.
to the smell of Wizard's disgusting laundry he never does, and the smell of the open wounds on his wife's obese, edema-ridden feet and cankles, and the smell of just broken dreams, loser failuredom, disempowerment, because no one there's ever really tried to live fully, you'll know you're there. There's no mistaking that smell.
Yeah, could you imagine like a dorm, like a college dorm, and each room is like these loser failure broadcasts, right? You got like the dark, it's mostly dark hovels, right? The dark basement hovel with the guy that, bring your children in here, that I'll help them hear. They have hearing issues, right? Another guy that can't hear or see. He's gonna wear the beanie inside. In this dark hovel, you got the queen, the dystopian queen.
Queen Sleazen?
Yeah, Queen Sleazen, who's trying to get you to drink the toxic. See, like, you shit in the punch bowl, but like Queen Sleazen's got like a toxic, anthrax laced, Kool-Aid ready to go. Jim Jones style. Come on, guys, just drink it with me. Ooh, I'm so beautiful and rich. And he's this big, fat, naked, pale-skinned, extremely dark gray-eyed, like Jabba the Hutt creature. At least Jabba the Hutt was rich, right? Like, this dude was just like Jabba the Hutt, but pale, with no bitch.
Where's fucking London Queer's video about him? He actually did a pretty good video. I can't believe this London kid too. He's such a bitch. I remember the first time I met him, he goes, "Oh, you're playing music from my boy from Liverpool," trying to like align himself with gangbangers or street people. And I go, "Bro, you're not that. You don't act like that at all. You act like the biggest bitch ever. You sit right next to me on panels and laugh and giggle about everything I say. Then when I leave, you talk shit about me in the chat. You don't even do it vocally. You do it in the chat box. You don't get points for that."
Then he does that political thing where he'll do his I've seen 10 minutes of his shit for the past year, and he'll be surrounded by these crazy women, and then they just say shit, and just like, yeah. So,
right, that was dope. Yeah.
Yeah, that was dope.
Deep shit. Yeah.
Shit.
Fucking jealous, envious hate from these motherfuckers in the fakery is just unprecedented. How they'll use me and get next to me and laugh and act like I'm the man, and then hate on me as soon as I leave. Like, I've never, I guess I never understood that, and at some point I had to infer what it is. Because it's like, it's been going on for the longest time. Even when I was a fucking drug addict. You know, it's like people just they'll sit right in my face and laugh and giggle because I guess I'm intimidating. I don't see it that way. And then I have to hear later that they were talking shit and hating to people who then come back and tell me and weren't even with it. I don't get it. Like, what's the point of that? What do you get out of being jealous, envious, and hating? Right? You don't have to like me. You want to call me out? Great. Do it right there when we're next to each other. Why you got to wait and show that you're a bitch like that? Not only do you not get points for that, you get points deducted for that. Now you got me talking about these fucking people. As if anybody gives a fuck. That they love that. They love when the one that they're jealous and envious of and hate on because they can't even talk, let alone carry a broadcast. You know, when I talk about them, they get like a run up, the chill up their spine. You know, sets them off. They really enjoy that. I don't like to give them too much of what they get off on.
Hey, Militant, come on up. This is an open panel. Come on up. Come on up. It's an open panel. You have.
They're not coming up, Timmy.
Come on.
It's not happening.
Please.
The panel's
We
closed.
need you.
No, we don't need. The panel's closed. We're done and over. I'm wrapping up.
We got 25 minutes left, man.
Oh, no, I told you I'm ending early. I said an hour. It's 1:35.
All right. 35
He's
minutes
terrified.
over.
See? He's terrified.
Man, you guys can't even play your roles well. It's so lame. You guys are extreme when you shouldn't be, and then when it comes time to be balanced and like and flowing and dynamic, you're not. It's bizarre. You want to take left or right, you can't be balanced in the times that it matters, and then times like this, you can't just come up and then just at least play
always
the
instigating.
Yeah, we're here. It's like, ow, someone's kicking me. It's like, and then the camera pans out. What is this? Some folks might say that. Oh, let's see. What do you got, folks? Like, as Green says, at least Green came up and he was like, hey, fuck you. You know, gave the audience something. It's 100 fucking people here, you know? Give the other people something. Militant roots. Put your tongue a little to the left. I'm not gonna move my tongue or anyone except for the wife of I request. So, yeah, no thank you. So what do you got? You want to play this slave clip out? Or are you satisfied?
I didn't even look for it. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It's somewhat universal.
The one you still got up.
What?
You want to finish now?
Oh, I'm over it, man. Same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Truth or Flop is apparently live. I'm seeing that now. Okay. See if I can find that.
Milton says, play the slave stuff. Yeah, that's you. We're playing you.
That's
You're like a flute. You're a slave flute.
London Man is so irrelevant. You can't even find his channel.
Good thing he picked
so non-existent.
Unique name, huh?
Yeah, right. Yeah, London Man. How'd you come up with that?
How to get 0% loan? Ask. Just ask. How to not get a 0% loan?
All right, here it is.
Go to a Muslim country. Ask for non-usury. You got a bottle of water video.
I don't think he uploaded he may have a second horrible channel nobody's aware of. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe these folks, someone knows usually. Oh, this is one of the Queen sleaze in months.
It's showtime. It is good to see everyone here. Welcome to El Diablo Radio International. the greatest show in hell. And eventually that will mean something. It already does to me. There's meaning in it.
And I like to dress as a baby. I like the blend. It's like a regressor. It's actually very comfortable. I just like to sit in them.
I support Phil's lifestyle choice. I found out he liked to dress as a baby after being together for about a year. When I see him wearing his nappy, I kind of feel indifferent.
I like to pee in them, but not the other stuff. It's just not me at the moment. Barbara doesn't like the nappy stuff really, and she won't change the dirty ones, but she will put a clean one on for me.
My favourite thing about being Phil's mummy is caring for him. It's not dodgy. It's more of a lifestyle. Some people enjoy sports. Phil likes being a baby.
For me, there's nothing dodgy about my age play, but for a lot of people, it is.
Sadly, Phil has been forced to keep his lifestyle choices a secret, as he's afraid to tell his closest friends and family.
One of the hardest things for me is having to hide my lifestyle living as a baby. I don't want it to affect my work. I don't want people to think I'm a weirdo. To me, it's just normal. I never really got to enjoy my childhood because we moved around a lot. And I think that's where the age play comes from. But to be honest, I'd probably still do it.
Phil believes that age play brings him and his partner together. As well as giving him a sense of happiness he struggles to find anywhere else.
All right. I think we kind of get the point. It goes on and on. Well, there's more. I think it's all.
We're running around after Phil.
And the other thing, you've had no mercy on me. You haven't helped me. A lot of these creatures that stand with evil, they've done everything.
Another guy who's entitled hasn't been helped.
Worse, trying to shut my channel down, emailing threats, making threats on YouTube live streams, you name it. Done all they could, trying to stalk me, try anything they can. Jeeps, don't be afraid. Come on here, talk to me. Come on live sometime. I know you can come on live. You can say things in a chat room on another channel, but why can't you come on here live and talk tough? Why don't you come on here live and have a chat with me, Jeeps? Don't be scared, Jeeps. Come on here and talk to me. Come on, Jeeps. You can talk tough in a chat room somewhere else where you're a moderator, where I got banned.
Yeah, he had another one where the obese creature was kind of slugging around. I wish I knew where that one was. It's pretty good. All right, let me see some of this one, and then I'm getting out of here.
It's chill time, and it's showtime. It is good to see everyone here. Welcome to El Diablo
this
Radio
is it,
International, the greatest show in hell. And eventually that will mean something. It already does to me. There's meaning in it, but it will mean something.
An individual with multiple personalities can change their body chemistry with their thoughts.
Someone's coming for you.
Who's coming?
The beast. The beast, the beast, the beast.
I asked you to cooperate. You don't want to cooperate. You're devil inside.
Calls me the devil inside. Didn't In Excess have a song? The devil inside, the devil inside. Every single one of us, the devil inside. Remember that song? Am I just imagining things here? You people pay attention to what I'm saying? The devil inside. The devil inside. Every single one of us, the devil inside. Remember that song? I wouldn't mess with me if I were you.
These people want to play these stupid fucking games.
The devil inside. The devil.
Steven, you're literally out of your mind.
Every single one of us, the devil inside. Hello, Snafu.
Mr. King, how are you, sir?
I'm great. Did you see Jeeps' comment?
I see whether fucking shot your bed. Fucking listening, all the things that fucking you said. Your head, motherfucker, oh shit. Legit, fucking shit. Motherfucker, my shit is fucked up with it. I'm a fucking thriller, I'm a killer on the mic. Motherfucker, when you do, fucking snapping through all night. You party fucking hard, fucking doing your thing. Motherfucker, fucking getting fucking up in the scene. I'm a killer, I'm a thriller on the mic. motherfucker, you know I'm alright.
So how we just choose.
Oh, I did. I came to give you a little report. So the other day, as you were streaming, it was the King Show on OTW and Paul.
Most people in this realm are oblivious.
They pulled your video up, your pictures up. It was a shit show on Paul. But what was interesting is seeing
devil inside, devil inside, every single one of us, devil inside. You know, it's funny that a lot of black guys and Asian men just don't like white men.
All right, I'm leaving it there because it goes on and on and on, and he's got to make them shorter. They go on, and also that creature's voice is just grotesque.
Yeah,
I can only take it in short doses. Give me a final word. I'm out of here.
Stay free. Cheers, Bill.
Thank you, Timmy. You as well. Timmy's supposedly coming back to the Americas, so if he does and he's open to, I guess, being on Oregon, if we wind up there, maybe we'll work together in some sense. All right, folks. I'm out of here. Back tomorrow, somewhere between 12 and 5 MDT. Barring some act of God of the state, we know more and more each day. It's becoming one and the same. If you ask the average citizen slave, the state of corporation is their God, and policy is their law. All unaffected on the way out. Say goodnight to the bad guy. Much love, much love. Devil inside. Is it because I choose to work for myself and to be self-made, so to speak? Is it because I choose to uphold the law and understand legal versus lawful? When you folks wake up and realize you're not doing any of that, you're a go along to get along, lukewarm, mediocre slave who's literally just a pawn in a corporatist fascist system. You've never found yourself or created yourself or even understood the idea of self-made, yet you want to comment on other folks who had to go past complete insecurity, fear, doubt from self and from everyone around them, denial, disempowerment, right? Rejection, being rebuked, being persecuted, being prosecuted, and still somehow coming out better than ever for it. They all got something to say about me in this walk, when people want to take this walk with me especially. You know what the funniest part about it is? They got no problem talking shit, demeaning me and what I do, devaluing me and her's relationship and our connection and our understanding and our walk, and the reason that we're doing this is it's intuitive and instinctual. They want to deny all that, but then when we get the results and we get the dismissals, you don't hear hide nor hair of them. They don't come out and say, yeah, we were hating, we were lying, we were talking shit, we were acting like there was no movement there was no power, there's no credibility and value there, right? We tried to do all that, and then we got shown it was exactly the opposite, and we just act like it never fucking happened, right? That's the game. I see you motherfuckers who and what you are. You're the most pathetic, pitiful pack of loser failures you could ever see. And the sad part is it's the majority of folks. You folks are so ignorant and arrogant and unwilling to look at yourselves and what you created, but then call people like Paulie Boy a loser when I am rugged, entrepreneurial, individualistic, Americana, interdependent, if anything, but not codependent. And then there's like a whole other world that came forth. Networks of folks, rights, freedom, principles, spiritual faith, dismissals out the ass, changing the whole game on Denver. We've literally completely changed the game and put it back in its proper perspective, at least on the main state where that video has become famous, infamous, if you will. And they're going to sit here and deny the walk. So again, I'm not complaining. If anything, I'm bearing witness and testimony, and I'm inspiring and motivating a whole other group of motherfuckers to come forth and be what they're meant to be, and just remind them that, hey, when you walk this path in life, you may have access to big things and you may have big dreams and all the rest of it. Just stay focused, do the next right thing, keep the faith, and play a long game. Because if not, you will get tricked out of your power and position. And I'm not claiming I haven't done it to myself at certain times. I may be doing it right now. Right, but a lot of my ranting, my raving, my rambling when I come on here, if nothing else, is to inspire, motivate you folks. I'm living an authentic life. I'm pushing past fears and challenges. I'm going to the unknown many times, or to where few have gone before.
Listen to me. Listen to me. I want to help you. I want to help you live the life you want to love.